I'm playing every golf course in Melbourne to find the best one, and this week I teed up at the Sands Torquay. As you can see, the facilities here are top notch and they would want to be at a cost of $110 for a weekend round. Lucky for future golf members, they can use a round voucher here to play for free. The clubhouse here is stunning and they have a great cafe bar area and really tidy practice facilities to warm up on. Obviously, being a links course, you get wide open fairways, sea views and water hazards, but I also got 50km/h winds today, which made for a tricky round of golf to navigate. So, how do you think I scored on the front nine? I'm playing off a 12 handicap here. Do you think I played to par? Hole 1 is relatively straightforward to start. It's grip it and rip it with the hazards not bothering me too much. My pitch went fairly okay and I had a chance at making birdie and then par. But there's a lot to be said for starting with a bogey. There's a few more hazards on hole 2, but thankfully I avoided them all and again I had a decent birdie chance. It didn't fall, but I tapped in a par for a pretty good start. I'm 1 up after 2 holes, follow along for part 2. The wind really picked up on hole 3 and it helped me to clear that bunker which was sitting pretty at 250 metres. All I was thinking here was don't hit the sand, but I bladed this 5-iron straight into it. It took me a few attempts to find the green, but I did eventually make it to the green. My up and down attempt left me a little too far back, so I ended up finishing out with a bogey. The wind was so strong here that I drove the green on hole 4. That's a 340 metre drive. If only I could do this in normal conditions. I actually could not believe where it landed and I was so excited to tap in an eagle. I even walked around the hole a few times to make sure that I had read the green right. However, it was never on track, but I'll never say no to a birdie. I tried to draw a 7-iron in on the wind here, but I overdrew it and ended up in the bunker. I barely made it out of it. I should have put it here really, but I was too lazy to walk over to get my putter. It didn't work out great and I had to go get the putter anyways, so I ended up taking a bogey here. Driver in the wind is the hardest club to hit and I feel like I really lost the feel of where it was and I ended up topping this ball only 100 metres down the fairway. Honestly, I blamed the breeze because it was whipping me around the place. Thankfully, I caught my 3-wood a bit better and I had a pitch to the green. I had no idea where the landing spot was, so I was basically just following the GPS. It managed to stick on the green and I ended up taking another bogey from here. I'm 3 up after 6 holes, follow for part 3 to see if I can play to par. Par 3s are just the worst. If you don't hit the green, you just can't make par, and in this wind it's so hard to judge the distances. This hole was really well protected, so I was happy enough to make it out of here with just a bogey. Despite being windy, the scenery here was really something else, and I love a good drive over the water, and on this golf course, there's plenty. With the wind at my back again, I piped this drive onto the green and had my second eagle attempt of the day. There was no chance it was going to fall, but just like the last one, I'm always delighted to walk away with the birdie. The wind was straight in my face here, and the number one priority was to get this ball over the water. It came out a bit low, but it did clear it and it ended up just beside the bunker on the left. I did however end up in the next set of bunkers and had a horrific 70-metre shot to get out of it. It barely caught the green, but it just held up and I had a chance to save par with a 2-putt from here. I ended up 3 over through 9 holes, so follow along for the back 9 and see if I can shoot par. Looking back on the front 9, I played out of my skin here, probably one of the better rounds of 9 holes I've played in a long time. I had 20 points on a handicap of 12 and shot 39 on a 36-hole par front 9. Wind assisted here, I landed my drive right up beside the hole and was half thinking of making a birdie or a par from here, but the birdie to bogey pipeline was strong today and you guessed it, I completely duffed these putts and 3-putted from here. I caught the sand trap on the 11th fairway, but I was able to get this pitch right up to the fringe of the green. It was an outside chance at birdie, especially with these greens having just recently been cored, but it went close enough and I was able to tap in a par. This was probably my favourite hole of the day, a short par 5, makeable in 2 with this wind. I thought I was in trouble when I bladed my 5-iron into the sand, but I make the most unlikely up and down of the day with this putt. It must have been at least 20-25 metres away, but it fell in and I was delighted because I really needed a score here.
Get in!
This is a very scenic stretch of the course, but it's high and it's super windy up here. I really struggled to compute the elevation, wind and hazards in front of me, and I ended up just smacking it straight into the bunker. Thankfully, my bunker play has been slowly improving and I got it up and down in 2 shots here. It leaves me 5 over through 13, follow for the rest of the back 9. This was a bit of a risky shot here because right is lost and it's a very narrow fairway with bunkers everywhere. I just stuck it up in the air and hoped that the wind would take it towards the hole. It worked out pretty well and I had a pitch at the green. Even though I ended up a bit long, I was able to 2-putt my way back to par here. I was really facing into the wind here, so I wanted to keep everything as low as possible. This is the highest and most exposed part of the course, and I was really being whipped around by the wind here. It's very scenic though, and I would love to play here on a calm day. I did end up having a look at par here, but my putting let me down a bit, and I took another bogey. I was blinded looking into the sun here and only realised that this ball hit the front of the tee box when I just watched the video back. So I hit this orange ball as a provisional in case I couldn't find the white one. I hadn't a clue where the white one ended up, so I just played the orange one. Your score takes so much of a hit when you lose a golf ball off the tee, and it can really tank your round of golf, especially when it's so late in the day. This was a short par 5 and I was looking at least making a par here, but I ended up with a triple bogey. This leaves me 9 over through 16, follow to see if I can turn it around on the last 2 holes. Times are tough when you have to pull out the 5-wood to reach your green 156 metres away on a par 3. The wind pulled it slightly left, but I still had a chance at making par. I had to hit it hard to make sure it didn't fall away, but it missed the hole completely and I ended up taking a bogey here. On to the final hole. The water hazards are beautiful, but thankfully not in play. The only hazard in play on this hole are the bunkers to the left of the green, which I said I might as well try them out while I'm here. I made it out of this bunker, but I was way too far back to make par. I ended up with a pretty sick 2-putt to finish out here with a double bogey. I ended this round 11 over par. Out of the last holes, I went bogey, triple bogey, bogey and a double, which is a pretty insane way to end what was a really promising round of golf until hole 15. To lose 7 shots on the finish is pretty rough, but that's golf, and it's especially hard when you're playing into this kind of a big wind. Overall, it's not too bad though, because I ended up with 37 points off a 12 handicap. I had 83 shots in total. If I could have kept that triple off the scorecard, I would have been really happy with this performance. It was just unlucky that I didn't see where the drive ended on 16. Overall though, I was really impressed with the Sands. Even though I didn't get to play it in the ideal conditions, I still found the facility to be really impressive. The clubhouse and the practice range are top notch, the scenery is beautiful and the course layout is excellent. I actually think it's up there with the Mornington Peninsula courses, and I would recommend that everybody go down and play it. As always, I'm playing every course in Melbourne to find the best one, so follow along to see more golf in Victoria.